Cars, bridges, ships, aeroplanes. What do they all have in common? Steel. What else is steel a part of? The answer is everything. Even if something is not made from steel itself, it has been made by something that was. Every product on the planet has involved steel somewhere in its production. Like bronze and iron defined previous ages of man, so steel defines ours. So, how do you make the product that the world cannot do without? How do they do it? Steel looks like such a natural thing that you would be forgiven for thinking it came out of the ground that way. In fact, there is no natural metal called steel. To make it takes a kind of modern-day alchemy. And it all starts with iron. Iron is the basic ingredient of steel. And it's found in rock. Rocks that are rich in iron ore are mined all over the world, ground down and shipped to the steelworks. And in the English town of Scunthorpe, it takes 4 queens of England to turn it into steel. Introducing Anne, Mary, Bess and Victoria. These are the 4 furnaces at the Chorus Steelworks. And here, a pulverized rock begins a journey of transformation. Iron ore is basically iron oxide, or iron, chemically bonded to oxygen. The problem is, to make steel, you need to get rid of the oxygen and separate the steel from the rock. To do this, you need to melt it. The iron ore is hauled up to the top of the furnace in containers the size of garbage trucks, and then dropped into the furnace. Then, a huge amount of hot air is blasted up through the iron ore, and this is where the blast furnace gets its name. The rock is melted at a temperature of 2,000 degrees centigrade. It's amazing to think that what looks like lava only a few hours ago was solid rock. No longer iron ore, now it's molten iron. From here, the iron is poured into a train. No ordinary train, of course. This is called a torpedo. They are specially insulated to carry the 1500 centigrade molten iron. Every day, 10,000 tons of molten iron is moved to the part of the plant that will turn it into steel. The iron is poured into a huge drum, which can hold 350 tons of iron in one go. It looks like liquid fire, but incredibly, in only 30 minutes, this molten iron will be turned into steel. And it takes just 3 steps. Step 1. Add scrap metal. This is going to help control the temperature the vessel gets to. Step 2. Pour the iron on top and mix in a secret ingredient. Lime. Sounds like a cocktail. It's going to be more like a volcano. Step 3. Add oxygen. Sounds simple. Well, what's actually happening inside this container is like turning lead into gold. The problem is that there are impurities in the iron, like carbon, that will not make high-quality steel. So, an oxygen lance is lowered above the molten mixture. It blows in high-purity oxygen at twice the speed of sound. This turns the carbon into a gas and the iron into steel. As the top of the vessel opens up, it also shows a moment of manufacturing alchemy. Iron has been transformed into the product of our age. This also reveals the secret of the lime. Floating on the surface are all the other waste products, called slag, drawn out by the lime. Now we have high-quality steel bubbling beneath the surface. and tapped from the bottom of the vessel, the steel is seen for the first time. But it's at the next process that the molten steel is shaped to suit the jobs they are heading for. Rail tracks need long, thin steel. Pianos and suspension bridges need strong, thin wire. Cars and washing machines need sheets of steel. The hot steel goes through a process of water cooling as it's drawn through cooled rollers and water sprays. The outer shell of the steel may be hard, but inside it's still a molten liquid. Then the hot steel is cut to length by automatic gas burners. Even after it stops glowing red hot, it still takes several hours to cool down enough to be handled. Although they may not look like the steel objects we use, they soon will. Ready to make every other product on the planet, steel has the weight of the world on its shoulders. And it's up to the job. Every day,